as we discussed on the telephone, we're doing some research on the future needs of the military personnel armor area, and we really want to reach out to folks such as yourself who know the customer's needs and also have the point of view as a supplier to that industry.
Glad to help any way I can.
Great. You mentioned on the phone that you weren't that familiar with Acme Corporation, so I hope you found that information that I emailed helpful.
Yes, I did. Thanks for sending it.
Great. Well, as I said, we're really not here to talk about our current product offering. We want to get your sense of future needs and see how we could shape our future products to perhaps serve you better.
Okay.
Great.
Okay, great. I saw an announcement that you guys just recently took an order for 100,000 units. Congratulations. I take it business is good?
Thank you. And yes, we've actually been doing pretty good lately.
Okay, wonderful. I'm sure even with business going well, there's some challenges. I mean, all businesses have challenges. What are some of the top challenges you're seeing?
Well, of course, we're always under extreme price pressure.
Price pressure, even with the recent order?
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. We've got ourselves in a competitive market here, and to win that order, we had to bid very aggressively.
Do you think your competitors are in the same situation, or do they have a lower cost structure?
They have a lower cost structure.
Do you think it's in raw material pricing, or are they getting about the same pricing that you are?
Well, I'm really not at liberty to discuss what price we have today. Obviously, I expect the best price from you.
Of course, and I understand we're not really here to negotiate prices either. But can you tell me this, about how many pounds of raw material are there in a set of body armor?
About 5 pounds.
5 pounds, okay. And a set of body armor you sell to your customer for what, $400 or $500? Is that about right?
Actually, yes, that's very close. Unfortunately, that new order is on the low end of that price range.
I understand. About what is the raw material cost then of that $400 or $500?
It's about $40 in total.
About $40. And if you don't mind my asking, that's just the raw material, not including any conversion cost?
Correct.
All right. How much cost improvement would it take to close the gap versus your competition?
Well, let's just say that if we lowered our cost $25 per vest, then we'd be back in the margins where we were about 4 years ago.
Okay, $25. So that's more than a 50% cost reduction if that all came from raw materials. So it seems like there's something else going on. Are there issues elsewhere in your conversion costs?
Well, we're pretty certain that our competitors have a structurally lower conversion cost.
Oh, really? So what do you think enables them to have a lower cost?
Well, many of our competitors have highly automated processes.
Okay.
So they have better labor productivity and they have lower scrap rates. We just haven't been able to afford the capital investment to automate our processes, and so we live with a lot of labor-intensive manual processes.
Okay. So what parts of the process do you think it would help if you were able to automate them?
Well, one of the areas that we've had problems in is the fiber setting process. We've had a lot of downtime ever since we switched from Aramid to UHMWPE, and the operators have to stop and clean the machine about every 3 days.
So how long is the machine down when you have downtime?
It's about 2 hours. Plus, we have to get someone from the shop to support the operator to take it apart, clean it, put it back together again.
So what do you think is causing the downtime?
Well, it gets gummed up, and eventually the tension gets too high to operate effectively.
It's gummed up. What's causing it to get gummed up?
The fiber, they're melting slightly in the barrel.
The fiber's melting. Now, you're not actually heating the fiber in the barrel.
No, but the fiber is set into hot resin, and then the barrel is heating up from the resin.
What's the temperature of the resin?
About 140 degrees C.
Okay, 140. So if the fiber melt temperature were above 140 C, do you think that would help with your process and help with reduce the downtime?
I certainly think so, but we'd have to test it to be sure.
Okay. What if the melt temperature were significantly above 140 C? Do you think that'd have an additional benefit, or? No,
not really. We don't intentionally heat the materials during the process. So I just need enough heat resistance to eliminate melting in the barrel.
Okay. Well, if we could get our technical folks to work with your operations folks, we might be able to come up with a solution. Would you be interested in that?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Well, that's great. That really gives us some good insight into some of the issues with your operations. But I want to come back to something you touched on earlier. You mentioned that differentiation is also going to be a key piece of your strategy going forward. Could you tell us a bit more about what you mean by that?
Well, we have some development projects looking at some innovative technologies.
What types of ideas are you pursuing?
We have a couple of process engineering projects trying to debottleneck the process and lower our manufacturing cost. We also have a couple of new product development projects, but they're in their infancy.
What's the focus of those new product development projects?
We're looking at getting into the hard panel insert market. leveraging some ceramic bonding chemistry that one of our scientists developed for another application.
Oh, that's great. How's that project going?
Slower than I'd like.
Do you have an idea why it's going slowly?
We just don't have the resources to dedicate to the project. Our engineers keep getting pulled off to fight fires in operations. Plus, I don't think they're as dedicated to it as I'd like them to be. They would much rather work in the plant than do new product design.
Interesting. So it sounds like you're really having trouble getting the right kind of resources to focus on what might be an exciting opportunity for you.
Yeah, I know where I want to go, I just can't seem to get there.
So if you had access to the right sort of product design engineers that might be able to help, would you be interested in something like that?
I do. Do you have some product design resources that maybe could work with us?
Yeah, it's within the realm of things we do for customers from time to time. I'd have to check with headquarters and see what we can do, but it's certainly something we can follow up on.
Great.
Marcus, I see that we're nearing the end of our time with you, and I want to be respectful of your schedule. I know that you're busy, but I really want to thank you for the time you've spent with us today. It's been very helpful, and I think we've really got some important insights. I appreciate that.
Glad I could help.
Thank you. As I mentioned, we're talking with others in the industry, and as we get more of a perspective, would you be interested in us following up with you and maybe sharing some of what we learned?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. We'll be back in touch with you in a couple weeks then. Thank
All
you again
right.
for your time.
Great.